every time that I felt the need to people please, it was because I had the fear of people. I had a fear that people wouldn't like me for who I was. So I felt that I needed to overexert myself, because if I overexert myself, then at least I can say they like me. I didn't want to give a person no reason not to like me. I didn't want
to. So there's a saying, and I'm not speaking of any sort of race, I'm speaking of a color. If it's white, it's not right.
That part.
So, white bread. If this was me calling you, when are you gonna answer the phone? And then after you answer the phone, are you gonna show up?
Exactly.
And then it gave a parameter, amen, on how I need to love her.
Talk about that.
He says Christ loved the church.
He gave his life.
That man up. When that man walks through the door, just tell him, man, look at my man. Come in and give us your fine self. You pushing that man and more.
This is when you know you're dealing with trauma in a light way. You get an envelope in the mailbox, you don't open it, you avoid it. Being avoidant. Hello. Happy Tuesday, everyone who will be joining me. Yes, y'all, happy Tuesday. So I just want to welcome you all back to another episode of the Whole Story Sundays. We are on day 5 of conversations regarding anxiety. This is a series that I'm calling A Day in the Life of Anxiety. And today, the topic that we're going to be coming from is what are energy drainers. I'm going to definitely give you guys some insight on what energy drainers are, at least from my perspective, because I want to say that energy drainers look different and are different for everyone. So how I'm kind of doing this one today is I'm going based off my own personal experiences, and what has personally before in the past have drained my energy. But not only did it drain my energy, it promoted anxiety in my life. It accelerated it. But before we get into this topic, I just want to remind you all that the reason why I started this series was because I just feel that we are living in a society where people are suffering, as I said yesterday, with higher functioning anxiety. Hold on, y'all, because I am at work though, but it's okay. I just wanted to get up here for a few moments and share. People are living in high stress volumes, but because stress has become somewhat of our baseline, we just kind of go through it. We're resilient people at times. So basically we've developed a higher stress tolerance. So this series though, like I said yesterday, for those of you who didn't get to catch yesterday's content, go watch it. Please. I'm gonna be a Southern Belle. Go watch it, please. But for those of you who didn't get to go check it out, it was this series that I'm doing for this whole month is for my people like myself who've never went to a therapist. Even though I'm a therapist and I have went to therapists, but I'm saying to my audience, like, this is for people who've never went to a therapist. These are for people who haven't went to the altar, but they're suffering with anxiety, but they don't know it because they can present well each and every day. They can come to work, show up, do their job, be there for their friends, be there for their family, their husband, their wife, or their kids, go to do what they need to do for ministry. These are for those people. But on the inside, they're having intrusive thoughts. They are having obsessive thoughts. They're worried constantly. They're on edge. They're irritable. But the thing about it is they're still able to get all of their tasks done because they have high functioning anxiety. So this series is for you all. This is not for my people who may have been, it is. It's for whoever needs it. For the people who've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder or these disorders that have a name attached to it. Some of us have anxiety, but we don't know that it's anxiety because we have been functioning with it just fine. We live our life like normal, So I said all of that to say, if y'all like this content, before this video is over, go to my link in my bio to subscribe to all of my platforms. And with that being stated, we're going to go ahead and get started. Day 5. So, an energy drainer, guys. I took some notes, so if I'm looking over, it's because I'm just referencing that. Energy drainers is pretty much things that we tolerate but take a lot of our time and energy. So the thing about things draining our energy, right, is that we are not addressing it. So because we're not addressing it, like I said, we're tolerating it, right? We are coping with it every day. It might not be healthy, but we are coping with it. And in coping with it, it's causing us anxiety because it's literally taking from us, right? And here's the thing about that. When something is taking your energy away, it takes your focus off of other things that you can be doing. So if I'm always being drained with this person who dumps on me, who always have some bad news to tell me, who always make every conversation about themselves, I'm tolerating it because this is my friend, this is my family, right? And I don't want to disappoint this person. But at the same time, once that phone conversation ends, once that lunch day ends, now I have stuff that I need to focus on in my household. I need to set my therapy appointment, but I have no more energy because I have allowed something to kind of stick its stingers in me and literally take it all. Not only is it taking it all, but it's inserting venom, right? And it's poisonous. And so a lot of the times why energy drainers are really an act of the devil, but it's not only just that. The reason why it's detrimental is because it not only impacts your physical health, but it impacts your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health. Prime example, if I have sat on the phone and gossiped all day with my friend, that's an energy drainer. But now I have talked on the phone with her for 4 hours about this and about that. So when it's time for me to go out in the community or hit the gym to get my body right, I don't have the energy for that because I've exerted my energy somewhere else where I really didn't have time for. I want us to understand, guys, that as adults, adults who live on purpose, right? We don't have the time to entertain pointless things anymore. I can't be the person to give you what your pointless thing is, but I can tell you that if you want to live on purpose, it's going to be hard to live on purpose if you are still trying to entertain every phone call, if you're still trying to entertain every conversation that's in a sense meaningless. So energy drainers, literally, as I said, it just takes your energy. So today I have a couple of signs of things, well, not signs, examples more so of things that takes your energy. I think I got about 6. Of course, I don't know if I think it's about 5 or 6, but I'm gonna give it to you guys all so you can kind of understand what they are and kind of be just aware of these things for the rest of the day up into the rest of your life, so you can recognize like, oh, this drained my energy. Okay. The first thing is procrastination. And some of you might say, how can procrastination drain my energy, right? And again, things that drain our energy causes us anxiety. I just want to emphasize that. So procrastination, right, is us avoiding. And one of the things I've talked a lot about this week was that when we are anxious, we are avoiding a lot of the times. You know, we're avoiding a consequence or outcome to something that we don't really like, right? So the thing about that is when it comes to procrastination, right, the reason why it promotes anxiety is because think about it. If I'm supposed to be working on this homework assignment, I'm trying to use other examples, but they're not really coming to me. If I'm supposed to be getting together this business plan, I'm trying to come up with some more examples, but I can't. But basically, it's just anything that we're supposed to be doing that's more important, right? if I'm supposed to be writing my book, if I'm supposed to be collaborating with other content creators, if I'm pushing that off, right, and I'm just pushing it way, way, way back, then guess what's happening? It's draining my energy. So because that's draining my energy, when it's time to really get this stuff done, when it's time to really put my feet to the pedal and get it done, now I'm working with this much time span when I could have had this much, but I've reduced it because I procrastinated and I waited to the very last minute. Now my anxiety is up. So a situation that could have been totally avoided has really promoted anxiety because I did not trust that this situation was going to end the way I wanted it to end. So I procrastinated. Oh yeah, that's what procrastination is. It's a spirit of perfectionism, fear of failure. Anxiety is fear, right? So if I'm afraid of the outcome of something, I'm going to procrastinate on it because I don't know how good this circumstance is going to come out for me anyway, right? So because I'm afraid of the end results of this, then let me go ahead and try to make this perfect. But here's the thing, we're self-sabotaging because in the mind of trying to make it perfect, how can I make it perfect if I'm not giving it my all? If I'm doing this assignment a day before it's due, 2 days before it's due, when I've had 2 weeks to get it done, 3 weeks to get it done, 6 months to get it done, then what I'm doing is I'm putting this on the back burner because deep down in my subconscious, I'm telling myself, this may not turn out the way that I want it to go. So because I'm afraid that it's not going to turn out in a way that I find, I know the lighting is a little off, guys. I'm sorry. But because I'm afraid that it's not going to go the way that I want it to go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just not do it because I'm avoiding it because I'm afraid that this task is too big for me. I'm afraid that it's bigger than what I want it to be. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, guys, we got to be very cautious about how we put stuff off. Now, my recommendation for stuff like that, when we start feeling like a situation is bigger than what we can tolerate, what we can do, I recommend us basically, though it seems like it's a lot for us, I recommend that we basically break it up bit by bit. If I get a pie and I try to eat that whole pie, of course I'm not going to be able to finish it in a day because it's a whole pie. But if I take it slice after slice after slice and I break that pie down, then guess what? I'm giving myself the opportunity to digest it better, to not feel overwhelmed by it, to not get overly exerted by it because I'm dissecting it. There's nothing wrong with dissecting your task. Of course, you're going to be stressed out and overwhelmed if you're trying to do this big task in one setting. Guys, that was my testimony. Let me tell you something. I am still working with the spirit of procrastination because I recognize that it's a part of anxiety and it is linked to fear. God called us to do everything in excellence, high excellence. So how can it's been times I got A's on assignments that I turned in the night before. I'm talking about 12-page papers. If I would have started this 3 weeks when it first came to my attention, imagine, though I got an A, it's so much more things I could have had in that, right? It's so many more details. It could have been grammatical issues that I could have remediated because guess what? I was being mindful about my grammar. You know, when you in crunch time, you don't got time to be making sure, that paper got all the punctuation correct. You don't have time for that because you're in crunch time. And a lot of us are so used to working in dysfunction and crunch time that we will not allow ourselves to fully see how great we can be because we're afraid of failure, but we're also really afraid of success. And procrastination is our maladaptive coping skill. It's that coping skill that even though we know it's going to stress us out, for whatever odd reason, we just feel like I want to avoid this because I'm afraid of this task. Take it step by step. Dissect it bit by bit. Be okay with giving things your best because God wants us to operate in the spirit of excellency. Remember, what you avoid, you fear. I'm not afraid to walk down the street unless I know that it's a bunch of bad crime down that street. It's a lot of loose dogs down that street. It's just a lot of stuff going on down that street that I'm afraid to go down. So I'm going to avoid that street, right? And I'm going to find a different route to take. But sometimes God is saying you can't always avoid every avenue. I need you to get focused, and you're not focused if you're procrastinating. You're afraid. And that's the spirit of fear. So that's the first one. The next one that I want to kind of talk about, guys, and I might not get to all these tonight. So what I might do is just actually do the rest tomorrow because I am still working. But the next task I want to talk about is people pleasing. So that's another energy drainer. So here's the thing about, again, like I said, energy drainers. Energy drainers is anything that takes from us. And what I do know is this: when we are people pleasing, people are constantly taking from us. But people can only do what we allow. When I am a person, well, first of all, when I was people pleasing, because I'm declaring and decreeing that that's not going to be my testimony no more. But I have been a people pleaser before. And every time, one moment, guys. Every time that I felt the need to people please, it was because I had the fear of people. I had a fear that people wouldn't like me for who I was. So I felt that I needed to overexert myself, because if I overexert myself, then at least I can say they like me. I didn't want to give a person no reason not to like me. I didn't want a person not to like me because I said no. I didn't want a person not to like me because I couldn't do something that they asked me to do. I felt like a failure. Again, that fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of failing makes you do these impulsive things. So I'm people pleasing and I'm doing everything for everybody else. But then meanwhile, I'm wondering why I feel so depleted. So it'll be times where I didn't gave everybody else 100%. 100% of my time, 100% of me. I listened to everybody who called with a complaint. I got in my car to give everybody a ride who needed a ride. I helped people with papers when I had my own work to do. You know what I'm saying? And then when it was time to give to the Whole Story Sundays, when it was time to give to my own personal platform, I noticed that I didn't have the energy in me, because you know why? I have given so much of myself to everybody else and everybody else's emergency. One thing I'm learning is that what everybody else's emergency is not my emergency. You mismanaging your money is not on me. You allowing your boyfriend to treat you whichever way does not subject me to listen every single time, because that's what you're deciding to put up with. You know, it's nothing. Don't get this misconstrued with being a helper. Being a helper is fine. It's good to help. I think I'm very helpful, you know, but that doesn't mean that you have to do everything for everybody, because I'm telling you, y'all, you know, you want to talk about anxiety attacks, panic attacks, that stuff come when you're, again, overwhelmed, when you got too many things to do, when you got too much stuff on you, and you feel like, I know for me, guys, I've suffered with a anxiety attack before. It was actually a panic attack, if I'm being honest, and I had one. And I said, this is going to be my first and last one, because what I knew was that at that moment, I had been carrying way too much weight. And because I carried so much weight, y'all, it's nothing like feeling like you're going to die coming out of nowhere. Because I'm trying to accommodate everyone, but meanwhile, I'm giving so much of myself to them, but I'm neglecting every aspect of myself. I'm not speaking up for myself. Everything that makes Shaquille happy, she's putting on a back burner to make somebody else happy. Meanwhile, I could have just worked a 10, 12-hour shift, and I'm still expected to perform. You still need me to do this? It doesn't matter if you did nothing all day. Because I say yes so much, they knew, oh, Shaquille gonna come through for me. Be the dependable person. Don't be the walking mat. You can be a dependable, nice person without not having boundaries. It's okay to have boundaries, and that's something that I'm learning. People pleasing drains energy and it promotes anxiety because you can't always be everything for everybody. You're not God. You can't carry everybody's weight and your own. That's why you're anxious. That's why your anxiety is up. It's up. Like Cardi B say, it's up and it's stuck. It's up and it's stuck because you're refusing to say no. If I ain't talking to y'all, I know I'm talking to me. So another energy drainer is avoiding difficult conversations. Everything I just said about procrastinating, people pleasing, avoiding difficult conversations, every single last one of those things have everything to do with the spirit of self-sabotage. How I describe the spirit of self-sabotage is just taking a knife and stabbing it in your own back. It's a direct form of self-hatred, a fear of failure, a fear of man, and a fear of how great you can really be. A fear of outcomes is what procrastination is. I believe I'm going to mess it up anyway, so I can just take my sweet time on it. People pleasing. I want them to like me. A fear of man. Avoiding difficult conversations. Another fear of man. Guys, here's the thing about when we avoid difficult conversations. We're refusing to tell people how we feel, but on the inside, it's causing so much turmoil, so much torment, because while we're holding that in, right? While we're holding that in, we are becoming more resentful towards the person, which opens up doors for passive aggressiveness, which opens up doors for people to walk over you, right? Which opens up doors for people to not know. You could avoid relationships being lost, but people can't fix what they don't know is a problem. And if they're not willing to fix it for you, here's what you have to understand. They're just not the people for you. But that's a fear of losing people, a fear of abandonment, a fear of not being liked. I don't want to say this because if I say this and they don't like it, then I can lose them. You could if they're not the one for you, but if they're the one for you, though they might be in their feelings a little bit, they're going to accept what you're saying and try to change their behavior, or y'all can agree to disagree, meet at some middle ground, meet at some compromise. But guys, that's what anxiety do. It always makes us think about the worst possible case scenario. Anxiety make us feel like somebody gonna bring a gun at a fist fight because we're so afraid of end results. So when I have a fear of abandonment, a fear of losing people, I will hold in my feelings regarding a situation that happened. Because you know why? I don't want to have conflict with them. But my question then becomes, what about the conflict you have with yourself? I'm talking to me. I might not be talking to nobody else because I'm technically the only person on this live, but I'm talking to me. And maybe this is what God wanted. He wanted me to look myself in the mirror today. And I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, y'all, you have to live with every decision that you make. And if I had something that I could have said to a person, but I never did, can I live with that? I don't know. I don't think I could, because people, what we see in COVID is that people are dying left and right. And some of us had the opportunity to resolve conflict, but we didn't. Because we were afraid of losing them to turn around and due to COVID, lose them anyway. Or due to unwarranted circumstance, we lost them anyway. So now you have to process your inner turmoil, which is causing you more anxiety, which is also causing you to not be able to forgive yourself, because you know why? You were so afraid of abandonment. You were so afraid of hurting their feelings that you continued to hurt your own feelings. That drains energy, guys. Walking around with shame, frustration, anxiety, bitterness, unresolved conflict, That is the number one energy drainer. Then you wondering why you so stressed. We wonder why we so stressed. We're going out of our way to please everybody else, but ignoring ourselves. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop ignoring our feelings. We got to stop ignoring those warning signs. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just responding to a text, guys. But we got to stop doing that, because at the end of the day, I want us to live a fulfilled life, including myself. But can we live a fulfilled life with unresolved conflict? No, we really can't. So the last one that I'm going to do is going to be gossiping. Y'all ain't think I was going to say that right, but it is. So if you're anything like me, hearing a lot of bad news causes me anxiety. Some of us are walking around dealing and talking about issues that, first of all, does not apply to us. That's what gossiping is. When people gossip, they gossip about stuff that don't got nothing to do with them. But not only just that, right? Our brain is a computer. So our brain processes everything that we take in. And sometimes we take in so much unnecessary, unwarranted stuff that we're walking around with anxiety. Like if I talk on the phone with my family all day, right, and they continue to talk about such and such got into a car accident, such and such house got broken into, such and such said they wanted to kill themselves, such and such said this, we wondering why we're anxious. We're literally taking in bad news all day long. Gossip causes anxiety. I don't care what nobody say. I work in mental health, right? And I'm okay with the people who pay me to listen to their stuff. But I don't necessarily want to hear stuff that I can't fix. And every day, after a while, it's only a limit to what bad news I can even take in, if that makes sense. Like, after a while, I can't hear no more bad news. I say, nope, I'm done. I don't got the capacity. I can't take that today. I can't carry that today. That's not my problem to carry. Everybody's business is not your problem. Actually, nobody's business is your problem, right? And do you have the capacity to get all of that bad news in one day? But here's the thing about fear, right? What do I say fear make us do? It make us avoid. Anxiety is avoidance. When people are gossiping, they're avoiding all the messes and the spills and the ratchetness and the insecurities that they have in their own personal closet, right? But it's easier to focus on somebody else's issues because it makes my issues look more glamorized or more justified. You're not justified. God ain't gonna look at you like, oh, you know what, guys, Sarah from up the street, her husband was cheating on her. But if you cheating on your husband, then you ain't no different from Sarah. Right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is we need to stop allowing other people's business to be our business. Because if you don't have the capacity of God to carry and listen to everybody's issues, then you don't got the capacity to entertain gossip. Always remember that when a person gossips, they're miserable. Gossipers are miserable people who got to find an outlet. They dealing with their own anxiety. They dealing with their own issues, but because they're not dealing with it, because they're not addressing it, because they would rather avoid it, it's easier to look at somebody else's conflict. That's the reason why God said he without sin cast the first stone. Everybody had to drop their stones and walk away because nobody was without sin. Everybody had sin. One finger you pointing at somebody else is equals to 4 fingers pointing back at you. So I recommend that we stop gossiping and deal with our own problems, and that we stop listening to gossip and again deal with our own problems, because gossiping is an energy drainer. It takes it all away. So guys, I would like to thank you all for listening to yet another episode of the Whole Story Sundays, day 5. What are energy drainers? When y'all listen to this, right, because I'm about to end this live, I want y'all to think about what are some personal energy drainers in y'all own life. And then I want you to talk about how you going to reduce those energy drainers or how you going to get rid of them, period, altogether. Because some of them, these things we can get rid of. It's just hard because, again, it goes back to people pleasing. It goes back to wanting to be accepted. It goes back to, if I don't gossip with my homegirl, then she won't want to talk to me. Then she just don't want to talk then. Because while you gossiping on the phone with her, you could be working on your stuff. You got a book to write. You know? So go hit the link in my bio to go on ahead and do what you guys need to do to get signed up for this conference. I really don't want y'all to miss this conference. It's going to be amazing. The conference is going to be, I want to say what the doctor ordered because it's going to be healing, mind, body, and soul. We're talking about healing. By God's stripes, we're healed. By Jesus' stripes, we're healed. And I just believe that we can all be healed on all levels, mind, body, and soul. Like I said, we got the keynote speakers. When you hit the link in my bio to the Eventbrite, you'll see those who are speaking. Not only will you see those who are speaking, but you'll also be redirected to where you pay. And you can, with that comes your the Whole Story Sundays t-shirt, which is merchandise. In addition to, we will have a great spread, some food for y'all as well. And I just want y'all to be a part of this. Also, if you haven't already, go subscribe to my YouTube channel and go subscribe to my Apple Podcast, especially if you like and enjoy this content. I love y'all. Happy healing and selling. Remember, don't let nothing or no one drain your energy today. As soon as you recognize it as an energy drainer, go ahead and snip it. Cut it on off, because we don't have time for that. We got to cut all umbilical cords that suck the life out of us. Today and no other day are we allowing anything to keep sucking unnecessary life out of us. We need this life. We got to do purpose. So I love y'all. Thank you for selling with me today. Bye.